Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night. Halloween or bust. Talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. We've got a great show for you tonight. It's our Halloween special, obviously. We're going to be doing top 5 horror films, our slasher Mount Rushmore, and we've got our spooky Spinning the Racks. I am your host, Michael Dolce, in costume. And as always, regardless of the fact that we are in undisclosed secret locations, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir?
Good evening.
Well, my costume, if you're looking at the feed, which is on facebook.com/secrets of the sire, I may or may not have just pulled off my 3-year-old son's costume, and I'm wearing a spooky, spectacular, and quite awesome hat. It's a fire hat. I got a Captain America shirt. I don't know what I am, but I didn't want to leave you out, Hassan, because we're calling in from different locations today. We're actually doing the show remotely today. I didn't want to leave you without a costume either. So, bam, your photo. You have actually probably the best costume out of all of us. So if you go to secretsofthesire.com and then go share our wonderful video, you will see Hassan in costume right now. All right, we got a great show. A lot of fun. I mean, look, we get to do a Halloween show of all things, so I think there's no better topic on a Halloween show than to talk horror films. I mean, we've got one out right now in Halloween. It's doing gangbusters out there, and just in general, the horror genre. And Hassan, if you would agree, is as strong as ever in terms of fan response, in terms of just, I don't know, overall reception. What do you think?
I agree with that. That's pretty big industry. Going all the way back to, I think, what was it? Paranoid Activity?
Paranormal Activity was, yep.
Paranormal Activity, which was a couple of years ago, and it's been on an upward trend ever since.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Paranormal, The Conjuring, a couple of years where there's nothing there, and then there's tons of years where it's just like, boom, people get inspired and they go on this creepy wave. I remember like when The Ring came out, and that was right around the time, not the same amount of time, but Blair Witch was out, and Grudge, things like that, where all of a sudden it was just this wave. And then obviously in the 80s you had Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, and that was on the heels of Halloween in the late 70s. So there just like seems to come up these pockets of just goodness, and so that's it. I mean, it's you can't beat it. And I think with Halloween in theaters right now, we're right. It's never been stronger. So I thought it'd be fun. A fun idea would be to do a Mount Rushmore of serial killer slashers, right? And I actually posted this, and I thought this was actually interesting. We were going to do something a little different, and we're still going to do kind of similar to what I was originally thinking. But I was thinking we would do just comparing like the slasher guys, right? And who's the best and whatever. I mean, people have done that before. The immediate answer was we're going to do Freddy. We're going to do Jason. We're going to do, who else? Michael Myers, right? I mean, those are the big three, right? Then I thought, okay, what if, who's that fourth one, though? Because, I like to do like a little bracket style. And that question of like, who's the fourth, like, killer? Who's the fourth, like, iconic killer? And then so I threw it up on Facebook, which I always do. And in my head, I'm kind of thinking, okay, it's going to be from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's going to be the guy, right? It's going to be Leatherface. It's going to be, I don't know. Like, that was kind of who I was leaning. And then I was thinking, well, maybe the Ghostface from Scream. Maybe he's the iconic guy. And we got all these different responses. So I thought it would actually be really fun tonight to do a Mount Rushmore, and again, I think we can agree on the three most iconic, and that's something we need to understand too, right? Ground rules. I want iconic villains here, okay? You actually chimed in and said Candyman. Explain to the audience who Candyman is.
Candyman was I think there were two of them, either two or three of them. There would be, but the actors only he played I don't know, an ex-slave or something like that who had been murdered by, slavers. And he could only come back. He was like betrayed or something like that. Something weird happened where he was betrayed. So because of that caveat of him being wrongfully killed, he was able to come back whenever you said his name 5 times in the mirror. He would just show up and kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Or he would say your name. He would say his name 5 times in the mirror. He would show up. He would try to kill you. If you got away from him, then he would keep trying to kill you. And that was Candyman. I think there were 2 of them. I know of 2 of them. I know there's more than one. I know there's 2. I don't know if there's any more after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
So I think that fit in because the racial solidarity.
You were being a team guy.
I honestly think that the genuine contenders for the 4th head would probably have to be between Leatherneck.
What is that?
Leatherface or Chucky. And I would probably, if you'd want my bid for who the 4th head would be, personally. So are we at that part yet?
Sure. It's our show. We get to do whatever we want.
Yeah, then I would say it would be Chucky over Leatherface.
See, now David Rosenberg,
I think Chucky,
who chimed in on our Facebook feed, thinks that's blasphemous not to have Leatherface. He said it's an easy one, but I don't think it is. I think Chucky is a good candidate, right? Who's the guy from Hellraiser? What's his name?
Pinhead.
Pinhead was also nominated. People really, really kind of dug Pinhead. So let's look at it this way too. All right, and then I think Ghostface would be a 4th contender, right, from Scream, because I think there was if we had a rank, how do we do it, right? Number of movies? Would we say number of movies gives you entrance into this game a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many Chuckies were there?
Oh.
It was like Chucky. There was Bride of Chucky.
I think it was Chucky 1, the South Play 1, 2, and 3, and then I think it was Bride of Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one was Son of Chucky or Child of Chucky. I forget the last one.
I think there was. And I think there was a revival of Chucky recently too, though, right?
Chucky's earned himself a place in the pantheon. He's a well-respected player in that particular game.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say he's definitely up there as well too. Ghostface. I mean, you had at least 3, right? With three. If you don't have a trilogy, you're out of this game, right?
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's 3 of those as well too. So I think Leatherface is still in there.
Okay.
Trying to think who else is the Mount Rushmore candidate. So we have those 3. Pinhead. What's the deal with Hellraiser? Do you even know? I don't even know. Like Hellraiser to me is it's just beyond. Like it's funny. I could pinpoint that guy, but I couldn't tell you. All right, then I guess it definitely counts then, because I don't think there's another. All right, so 5 Hellraisers. Yeah, I mean I guess you have to kind of count them then, don't you? There's no question. Everyone knows who. Yeah. Well, everyone kind of like. Yeah.
Whereas, and he would fit in kind of close with Freddy.
Mm-hmm.
Freddy was more of a slasher, like Pinhead was always kind of setting you up, or kind of, put you in a position where you would get yourself into trouble. But he doesn't have a body count. Like he didn't kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
On his own, he had there were circumstances.
Sure.
Whereas Freddy would set out to, every time he fell asleep, he would try to kill you. So
right.
He fits in there with Jason and Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
And as Chucky said once in one movie, when his son asked, "Why do you kill people?" he said, "Because it relaxes me." So, Chucky is also a genuine killer in that standing. So that's why we kind of ruled Pinhead out. Pinhead is iconic, but I don't know if he fits on that particular Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think we could rule Hellraiser out for that exact reason. Leatherface, to me, I mean, you see the photos I posted this today, though? I mean, it's a scary-looking dude. He's had a bunch of remakes done, too, so he's an iconic kind of guy. Chucky, the one thing against Chucky is that he's a doll. I mean, I don't know if that should count or not count against it. I mean, do we just count, iconic bad guys being guys as opposed to, like, possessed spirits? Do you know what I mean? Or something, or inanimate objects that are possessed. Like, what do we think?
You don't have to. Are we gonna park?
I don't know. I mean, look, it's our show. We get to do whatever we want, right?
I say Chucky should be counted. I say he counts.
Even though he's not a guy. Who's more recognizable? And see, this is tough, right? This is a tough one because I couldn't tell you what Leatherface looks like, but if I see a guy wielding a chainsaw, I immediately think Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, that being said, I see Chucky. I know it's Chucky.
No. The problem is Jason. You see that ski mask, you automatically think Jason.
Yeah.
You think Jason.
Well, that's what
Myers has the Shatner mask, the kind of nondescript mask.
Yeah.
I mean, but you don't often come across that mask unless you're actually dealing with Michael Myers. Same with Ghostface.
Yeah.
But if you just happen to see a hockey mask, you automatically think Jason.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think we established Michael Myers, Freddy, and Jason. They're the cream of the crop, right? I don't think anybody's created anybody to their level as a fourth member.
More recognizable.
But I think Chucky. If I had to decide, I'll decide next when we come back. This will give you a little behind-the-scenes scoop tonight. It's Halloween, and as it's Halloween, we are kind of in two different places. I had to take my kids out, and it was a lot of fun. We did some trick-or-treating and all that good stuff. So we're experimenting with a little remote viewing. So I hope you enjoy. I hope my dog doesn't bark. I hope all the fun things go around. If you want this kind of in-depth kind of talking, going back and forth, become a patron. Go to patreon.com/secrets of the sire. Back us for $1. It'll help kind of move this thing going forward, and keep it going forward. And we really appreciate it. We appreciate all our patrons. Then that would be great. All right, I am gonna go a little commercial break right now.
big controversy with too because of the supposed gay relationship that took place. You know,
and I thought the real controversy would be about the
Oh yeah.
What happens with a giant bee?
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. Again, we're doing this remotely. It's our little Halloween treat here. Hopefully, everyone's checking us out on Facebook and can hear us okay and all that fun stuff. So we were talking the Mount Rushmore of slasher villains, right? I mean, we're talking the best of the best and only the best of the best. We got Hassan in the corner there. Because he's not on video tonight, I get to dress him up in any which way I want to, which is kind of neat because I get to kind of play a little god, and that's what I always enjoy doing. But yeah, so we kind of narrowed it down, right? Everyone can agree. Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers. I don't think there's any doubt about that, right? Like, we know those three the most iconic slasher film villains. We talked about Pinhead. Pinhead, maybe. But ultimately, we kind of ruled him out. Ghostface. I think there's too much parody that's gone on with Scream. Like, the Scream franchise got parodied into Scary Movie in a way that I think it actually devalued the brand of Ghostface. So it came down to Chucky and to Leatherface. And again, we had a lot of great comments on this. People were going nuts on the Facebook feed. We had a couple that I thought were actually really, really good. But in the end, Hassan, I think ultimately we got to go with Chucky, right?
I would agree with that.
All right, so that's our Mount Rushmore. Yeah,
Sorry?
Right. If we had to pick our four, that's our fourth. I think Chucky. I think you made a strong enough case there, where my brain is leaning toward Leatherface, but I don't know. I think you swayed me enough to say, you know what? I think Chucky is the iconic fourth member of this group.
Wait a minute. Look at it this way. I mean, I know I'm not going to contradict you because I agree totally. But look at it this way. Everybody, yeah, Michael Myers and Jason are pretty serious, but they've been gimmicks, right? They're very gimmicky. They started the genre, but they're gimmicks, and so is Freddy. Freddy's kind of a gimmick.
Yeah.
And so, there's nothing about that. They don't play for any kind of laugh. Whereas you can argue if you watch the Friday the 13th series long enough, it does get played for laughs eventually, as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agreed. Agreed. I think you're right. I think that kind of narrows it down. All right, we're gonna move on to the next topic tonight, which I thought was fun. Another fun Halloween theme, and to do that, we need to get you in another costume. We need to get you in a totally new costume right now. All right, so now you're Michael Myers. You're Hassan Michael Myers, which I think is awesome, and I think that's exactly... I'm just going to keep doing this. I think I'm just going to keep making new costumes for you. So the next time we do this remotely, you're just going to look completely different every time. All right, we are going to talk the top 5 horror films. Now, we're going to get into this next segment. We're going to do scary movies as well, right? What's the difference? So you're telling me right now, what's the difference between a scary movie and a horror movie? Okay, so here's my criteria for a horror film, okay? It's not a psychological thriller. Again, this leans more toward, I would say, the slasher variety. There's a creep factor. There's an iconic villain. I want a wide appeal. to the best horror film. You know, like people kind of mentioned Sixth Sense. Now, Sixth Sense might have been a scary movie, and it could be in our scary movie category, but I would never categorize this as horror. Okay, it's got to be in the horror genre. Things like The Conjuring, I will take. I would accept that as something that you could put in the genre. I would take something like we were talking about, Paranormal Activity. The Ring is definitely a horror film to me. Now, it doesn't have to be a slasher film, but it has to be horror, okay? If you're horror/suspense, you're not going to be the number one horror film. You're not even going to be in the top 5 of horror, okay? So there's a big difference, okay? So does that make sense to what I'm kind of saying?
Yes.
All right. Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Has got to be... Which Nightmare on Elm Street makes it? Or does multiple Nightmare on Elm Streets make it in the top 5, in your top 5? What do you think?
I would say Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warrior.
Ooh.
Would make it in the top 5.
Love that choice. Now, the reason I love that choice, too, is while nothing gets me going more than seeing Johnny Depp sucked into a bed and then spitting a barrel full of blood out into the ceiling, Dream Warriors was pretty effing cool, right?
Well, I think Dream Warriors actually perfected the genre, the Freddy genre. Whereas, look, if you're a stickler like I am, it broke a lot of the rules the first 2 movies. You know?
It did. It
The first one, though, is kind of had one, and it does a bit.
Yeah, it definitely broke a lot of rules, no question about it.
So, the first one, you have to perfect it. Like, you have to be, you can't get to unless you're asleep. If you're good enough, you can do anything in your dreams to protect yourself, but, for the most part, you can't. And it has a great ending, has a great beginning, has a great ending, has a very strong, the Freddy mythology is very strong, so I would say it's perfected in that one.
Another thing about that too, and you kind of touched upon it, was the mythology aspect. I love the fact that they have to, bury his bones on sacred ground to kill him there, to actually eliminate him, which was, it seems cliche now, but again, back then, it's not like we had a huge repertoire of horror films to kind of choose between. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's something that was kind of new at the time, or not new, but it was almost like an old school, sitting around the campfire kind of resolution. And I thought that was kind of something that played really, really well.
It was definitely innovative.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think that, just in general, I thought it was kind of like, okay, that's pretty neat. So there's this dream world struggle versus the real world struggle at the same time, and like the father's racing to finish it. So I thought that was actually pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Friday the 13th.
You got Nightmare on Elm Street 3 as one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Where does Friday the 13th rank in this? Because we'll get to Halloween in a second, too. I think Halloween is pretty... I think Halloween actually would be number 2 on my list, personally. But I want to talk about Friday the 13th, because Friday the 13th is like the elephant in the room. Because it just got so absurd. The Jason Takes Manhattan. But the first 2 or 3 Friday the 13th are actually pretty spooky, especially considering the villain in the first one's not even him, it's his mom.
I would say the fourth one is my favorite. It was ironically called the fourth one.
The fourth one is really good. You're right. Refresh everyone about the fourth one right now, though.
I think the first chapter was, I don't know. How do you start? The first one was Tommy with Corey Feldman playing the young boy Tommy.
Yeah.
Had some kind of friendship with Freddy because he was a little weirdo himself.
Right, he was a little weirdo.
And then basically it was your typical run-of-the-mill Freddy movie. Just typical run-of-the-mill Jason movie where These kids still up in cabin. They're doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. Freddy, Jason's there. I don't know why he's doing that. And then he murders them one by one. But, of course, when we get to the last girl, which is another horror cliche, turns out to be the last girl and her little brother.
Right.
Her little brother is intuitive enough to kind of be Jason at his own game. And so, at the end of the movie, it's implied that Jason was killed, that Tommy actually managed to kill Jason. So, and that's why they call it the final chapter. Unfortunately, they didn't want to go with chapter 11, so they decided to make chapter 11, which kind of negated the final chapter thing. And, they called it the new beginning, and that's when it starts to go off the rails. I think part 4 is the last Friday the 13th integrity.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. I think after that it kind of did go off the rails a little bit, and it was a little unwatchable. If I
Part 5, it wasn't even Jason. Part 5 was an ambulance driver. So, I mean, look, it's pretty cut and dry. As far as I'm concerned, it's cut and dry.
I think so too. I think I agree with you on that one as well. All right, we're gonna go to commercial because I want to really dive into this a little bit deeper. So we're gonna go to commercial, but when we come back, top 5 horror films, and then we're gonna spill into top 5 scariest films. See, that's where we kind of break away from the slasher killer, start getting into the real meat. The Here's Johnny when we return.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you feeling unhappy with your body, shape, or size? Ever feel out of control with food? I'm Elizabeth Smith, your host of Nurse the Soul. Join me to uncover the root of these imbalances and discover a permanent solution to living a healthy life. Join us every Wednesday at my new time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.net. Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Give me a vote, Bobby. What do you think? Steel or Nick Fury?
I'm going. I loved Steel growing up, and,
All right.
and I haven't seen it in almost like 15 years. But, things were limited in the 90s. We didn't have many superhero movies to turn to.
James Quarandango said this is like asking which eye you want poked out.
Boom, boom. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. We're streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. I know Hassan is a little low on the Facebook feed. That's because we are broadcasting from super secret locations because it's Halloween and we had to take our kids trick-or-treating. We had to do some things on Halloween. We don't always have a show on Halloween, so but we're braving through it. I just changed costumes. I am now a raging cowboy. This is also one of my son's Halloween costumes. He was actually a horse today, but then he kind of got tired of it, and after 2 minutes of being a horse, he decided he would rather be a cowboy, and so we managed to find this hat and get him going. So we persevered, much like we're doing now. Now, Hassan, I didn't want to make you just a horror guy. So right now, you are Batman. So your picture is now you are the Caped Crusader Batman Hassan, and we're going to dive into not just the top 5 scariest films of all time, but we were talking about the top 5 horror films. Horror slash, slasher kind of things. I think the scarier film is a more interesting category, though, because I think a horror genre film. We talked about Nightmare on Elm Street 3. We talked about Friday the 13th Part 4. Do you agree, though, Halloween kind of fits in between there as number 2 for horror, just for horror films?
Oh, the first Halloween?
Yeah.
I think you're asking if that's a horror film. Yes, I would call it a horror film. The first Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It gets into slasher territory around the second one when it starts to, like I said, when it starts to become a gimmick, it turns into a slasher film.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And you also, and our producer Sam Leibowitz tells us we shouldn't agree because it makes for a better show. And the funny thing is, we might agree, but the masses out there, it is so divisive a topic. People have just such a love of horror. So I'm going to even just say we leave it at top 3 right now, and we do it because it kind of corresponds to the Mount Rushmore. I want to get into the scariest films. We're not even going to do top 5. I just want to go into. I mean, we might even end up doing top 10 because scary is such a different category. Like that, I think we can both agree, and that's okay, right?
Right.
So I'm going to throw this one out here.
Which is, I know that sucks that we agree.
Well, yeah, I know. Let me think about one of the creepiest films of all time, The Shining. I mean, where is that on the pantheon of the creepiest, scariest movies you've ever seen?
Oh, it's in my top 5. I think it's the third creepiest movie I've ever seen.
See, my number 1 in all this is The Ring. That to me is my favorite. Like that was one of the freakiest, scariest movies I have personally ever seen. Like ever seen at all. Like I mean, in there.
When was it?
The Ring, 2002.
Oh. Huh. A recent one.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely.
Or film. It's more recent.
Now I chimed in. I posted this on Facebook. What have you seen The Orphanage by chance?
No.
Okay, so this is a Guillermo del Toro film. My cousin Amanda posted it, and then one of our guests, Alicia Davis, the stunt woman from Ant-Man and Wasp, who we had on the show, she put that in her top 5. And then we had a couple other folks put in their top 5 this particular film, which I thought was interesting because I was like, I've never heard of this before, but I guess it's Guillermo del Toro, and it's The Orphanage. Chime in, because quite frankly, I don't know how scary it is. I haven't seen it, but I'm kind of putting it on my list right now.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to check it out. I've never even heard of it. I've seen The Devil's Backbone. I've seen Chronos. I've seen some of his other earlier movies, and they are pretty creepy. They're effectively creepy.
Yeah.
I've never seen The Orphan.
The Ring to me has that single scene at the end. Like it's a psychological suspense thriller until the very end when she comes out of the well, and I'm just like, I think the entire theater lost their S. I lost my S. I'm not gonna bing it here because I'm at home and there's kids sleeping, but. We lost our poop, like everyone just did. Like it was like like I don't know. I don't think I've been a part of that in a long time.
No, I was effectively freaked out by that. It's not. It didn't get into my top 5, but it does. The Ring is not a settling. It's not a very. It's not a easy movie to get through. It really isn't. And my favorite story about The Ring is that I thought the entire concept was cool, because I'm like, if there's a videotape that says it's going to kill you in 7 days, you wouldn't watch it. That's just nonsense. And then I bought the DVD, and on the mention of the DVD, there's a little caption that says, "Don't watch this," and that's the first thing I clicked on. So, obviously.
So you outproved, you proved the concept right away. Like, but that's like a car wreck. It's like, don't look at this. I can't help it. Or like on that Buffy episode where Buffy can read minds, and Giles is like, whatever you do, just don't think of the things you want her to know or don't want her to know, because it's the first thing you're gonna think of. And it's like, it's human reaction. All right, it's flashing on the screen right now as I'm talking. Where do you rank the Blair Witch Project? Because to me, all right, before you go in, that was one of the most.
It's an effectively creepy movie, but it's not in my top 5.
That last scene, though.
10, of which it would probably be maybe 9, but it wouldn't be in my top 5. But I do think it's an effective movie for what it is. Where do you rank it?
It's up there for me because I think it's so innovative, though, too, at the same time. Like, kind of talking, again, along those lines of The Ring. Like, to me, people brought up The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I thought that was, like, kind of, like, okay. You know, it was almost kind of capitalizing on what The Ring had kind of done. And I'm not even talking about The Ring sequels because they were kind of, they were pure garbage. But to me, The Grudge was just, okay, let's take a Japanese horror film, let's remake it, let's give it the creep and kind of be done with it at that point. Blair Witch, when it first came out, though, I mean, that had people leaving the theater because they didn't know if this was actual footage they were really watching, and they were actually sufficiently creeped out by it. And I thought it was one of the single most disturbing films that I had seen, even knowing it was a film. I knew it wasn't real, and I was still like, oh, but in a good way, not like in a disgusted way.
Okay, it was. Look, I'll give it to you. It's a great movie. It really is a great movie. It's just that it falls into my category of it's not scary because I would never be in this situation kind of thing.
Hassan in the Woods? Hassan in the Woods just not happening. No Hassan in the Woods.
I disproved my theory with The Ring. I totally negated my logic with The Ring because I totally fell for it. The Blair Witch Project, I always thought, someone would come to me and say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make a documentary about this witch. I'm like, yeah, great. Like, we want you to do the sound for it. Like, yeah, great. That's a great idea. What are we going to do? Okay, we're going to go to Maryland. We're going to interview a lot of people. Okay, awesome. And then we're going to sleep out in the woods where all the murders happen. Okay, so I'll be at the hotel.
Yes.
You guys go do that. I'll be mixing the sound at the hotel. I am not sleeping in the woods where the actual murders happen. So that was the only reason why I'm like, well, this would never happen to me. This is scary, but I would never be in this situation because I would just not do that.
Where do you put like The Conjuring and Paranormal Activity? Paranormal Activity had some of like just the most shocking, like jolting scenes in it that kind of got me. Again, I kind of use for anybody who watches the show or listens to the show regular, I call it like the Wedding Crasher effect. Like the first time I see it, it's like just unbelievable, unbelievably shocking. But it doesn't necessarily. Like the next time I see it, it's kind of like that. It's like that laugh out loud comedy where I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen when I see it, and then if I try to see it again, I'm kind of like, all right, this is good, but I know it's coming, so I'm kind of like not as into it as I was. But what about you? Conjuring, Paranormal Activity, are they in that list anywhere?
Something I never really saw. I've never seen that one because they're typical like ghost movies. Now look, I find ghost stories effective. I'm not happy about ghosts. I'm not into ghosts at all. So I didn't really go near that movie for personal purposes. So I cannot judge it. My take on Paranormal Activity, the first time I saw it, I made a Facebook post about it, and I said that the movie was racist. So.
What?
Yeah. Well, because as I put it, I know a lot of white people, and none of them are that stupid. So I thought the movie was racist against white people. It was. I mean, come on. You're gonna get this thing. You're gonna be told that there's some kind of abnormal psychic energy in your house. That's conjuring weird things. You're gonna bring a medium in, and the medium's gonna be like, "Oh, I gotta get out of here. This place sucks. Don't stay here." The door, and then and then you get a Ouija board. You start messing with the spirit. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
That's one take. I mean, it
Sorry.
it did spawn all these other sequels, so I mean, I guess there had to be some sort of believability factor to it. No, it's I don't know. Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for defending white people. That's nice. I'll click off the I'll click off the graphics and hi. I look whiter than white right now because I've got my little cowboy hat, which actually looks like a farmer's hat because it's meant for. Actually, I think it's supposed to be a sexy farmer's hat that my wife was going to wear, but we commandeered it for our son, which makes us sound like terrible parents. But no, well, thank you. But no, I actually I bought into the reality. There wasn't a part of me that was like, this doesn't seem believable to me, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Let me ask you real quick, because we're actually kind of bumping up again. You know, that's the fun thing about these topics too. I mean, we could literally just riff for 3 hours. We're not going to do that because I want to go to bed. But we could literally riff about just the horror, scary genre. It speaks to. I mean, it also kind of speaks to how like big like Halloween in general has gotten. Just people love being scared, which is kind of like counterintuitive if you think about it, right? I mean, my son loves being like tickled. He loves it. I'm always sitting there going like, you know, but to the point where he can't move, and it's like we as adults kind of are like that with horror, you know, like we like being like scared. It's weird. I'm not sure, but all right, let me ask you this question before we go to break. Where do the Saw movies fit in? And then when we come back from break, I want to know your top 5 completely. But where do the Saw movies fit in?
I think the first Saw movie and maybe the second one would be on my top 10. They would not be in my top 5, but they're, you know, again they are effectively horror, you know, and they do the one thing that I really like is they play against your expectations, and they play on your notions of self, like, you know, how far would you betray yourself to save your own life, which is basically the premise of Saw. So I think they work. They're in my top 10. They're not in my top 5, but they're in that top 10. They're effective horror.
I feel like you had a lot of top 10s, like to the point where I think you have like 20 in your top 10. I'm going to give you my top 5 real quick, and then when we come back, I want to get yours. I told you Ring was number 1 for me. I love the Blair Witch Project. I think that's right up in there as well, too, as number 2. I'm going to put The Shining in number 3. I think that's just a devilishly creepy movie. For nostalgia's sake, I think Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is a better movie. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 freaked me the hell out, though. And to round it out, I'm going to go with the first Saw because I just love the twist ending to it, and I think it's something that you know, just kind of held me spellbound throughout. All right, when we come back, Hassan gives me his top 5, and then we go spookily spinning the racks. Hey folks, so for anybody checking me out on the Facebook feed, again, this is a little different than we normally do. We're doing this remotely. We've got talkradio.nyc is pumping through our speakers over here, which you can kind of hear, which is cool. I'm recording live from an undisclosed home location, which is also cool too. But we do this every Wednesday night, talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture. Go to secretsofthesire.com. We also publish some graphic novels. Hassan and I are working on one right now. You can check out my latest book is The Sire. It's about a superhero forced by his own costume to fight evil. Volume 2 available right now. Go to mikebooks.com/store. Enter code SIREV2, get free shipping. So you can order Volume 1 and Volume 2, get free shipping. It's pretty awesome. And then also the big one that we had out was the Mainstream. That was myself, previous guests Tony Moy and Darren Sanchez, and the one and only Talon Caldwell, who was just unbelievable on this book. It was published through Zenescope. It's also available on the store right now. You can use the SIREV2 code and get free shipping throughout. So go ahead and take advantage of it, and we hope you keep checking out all the cool stuff that we're doing. Go to patreon.com/secrets of the sire to go back us. Go to youtube.com/secrets of the sire. We'd love getting subscribers. Would be great. Just people in general just supporting us would be pretty awesome. So again, we appreciate you guys taking the time out to check us out. We are talking Halloween. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool holiday. And we hope that the audio issues were rectified on Facebook and YouTube and all the streaming sites. And we'll be coming right back. We're going to be doing Spinning the Racks. Fun segment.
Can a man actually get up with any kind of macho manliness and say Twilight was a good film franchise and or movie? That's like the guy wearing the pink shirt, right? Like
Yeah,
he feels completely confident.
But men can rock.
Wait!
Sam the engineer is wearing pink. Right.
I just pulled a Hassan.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire, talking comics, movies, TV, pop culture. In honor of Halloween, we are doing our very special Halloween spectacular, I guess is the best way to do it. We're broadcasting on Halloween Day, so why not? I'm dressed in costume. Yeah, I know the hat doesn't really look like a costume, but that's as best as I could do. I would say at short notice, even though we've known for 364 days that Halloween was coming, so I guess I have no real excuse. All right, we were talking scariest movies of all time. My man Hassan, who is coming to us from an undisclosed location, I dressed him up in costume. If you missed it, he was Jason. Then he was Michael Myers. And then he was Batman on the Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire feed. YouTube.com, same thing as well, too. I want to know your list, my man. Give me your top 5 before we go spinning the racks.
Okay. My number 5 is, we spoke about it, Friday 13th Part 4. My number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. My number 3 is The Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh.
We could argue I think it's a damn creepy horror movie.
Yeah.
Personally. My number 2 is The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, okay.
And my number 1 is the original George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
I can't argue. Those are all amazing choices, to be honest with you. You know,
And the honorary mention is 7, with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. But it didn't make my top 5.
Scariest? Really?
Yeah.
I'd have more. I could argue. I could believe your argument on Silence of the Lambs being a horror movie. I really can. 7 to me is more of a mystery, like a horror mystery. It's not even horror, or it's. And again, we're not talking about horror films, but like it was a mystery. I don't know. I don't know about that. I got to be honest. I was on board with everything except that.
All right. Well, it wasn't on my top 5, so I mean.
Honorary mention is pretty good though.
But it would have if the list was a little longer.
This is true. Well, you also had like 20 top 5s, so that's good. All right, we're gonna do this special Halloween style. We do this every week. We go spinning the racks, but today it's a special one. It's a spooky one, bringing you the most fantastical pop culture news around. It just works. And last but not least, we're going to dress you up as Spider-Man when we do this. Yeah, Hassan Spider-Man. All right, Halloween can't be killed. It's already the biggest film in franchise history. That is correct. The new Halloween, which is just killing it at the box office right now. So this is coming from USA Today. Michael Myers, or is it Jamie Lee Curtis, can't be stopped. All right, it's Michael Myers. It's Halloween, but it's a good Halloween. It's a really good Halloween. It's both of them. Halloween dominated the North American box office for the second straight weekend, carving up an estimated $32 million in ticket sales. The top 4 films were unchanged as Hollywood left Halloween to dominate the pre-trick-or-treating weekend. So this came up right before this coming weekend. So in 2 weekends, the new Halloween has made $126.7 million in ticket sales, plus another $45 million in international sales. It's already the biggest film in franchise history and one of the highest-grossing slasher films of all time. The latest installment, directed by David Gordon Green, slid a relatively modest 58% from its debut. Let me throw this out to you, Hassan. Do you know who the writer of the new Halloween movie is?
I do not, actually.
Do you want your mind blown?
The writer.
It was me. No, it wasn't me. It was Danny McBride. Danny McBride is the writer/co-writer. I think he's the premier writer. Yes, Danny McBride from the Tropic Thunder movies, from This Is the End, from the HBO show, which for some reason I can't think of right off the top of my head, the Vice Principal show, Danny McBride. That Danny McBride.
Is it that Danny McBride? Because there is another Danny McBride.
Mullet.
In Hollywood.
Mullet Wild Danny McBride with the mustache. Vice Principals Danny McBride.
The guy from Eastbound and Down.
That was the show I was thinking of. He was in Vice Principals, but Eastbound and Down, that was the one I was thinking of. Yes, that one.
Okay, well that's fantastic. That guy's good then.
Right? Isn't it amazing isn't it amazing when people kind of go above what you think they can do?
Genres, because he is in the what's his name, Ridley Scott's last Alien movie.
Yes.
He played a pretty straight character.
Yes. Yeah, I mean it's pretty amazing that he's the writer. Well, good for him, and looks like things are going well. This one I thought you would really appreciate. Well, maybe not. I don't know. We're going to find out. Woman who had sex with 20 ghosts now engaged to a spirit. Yes, this is I don't think there's anything else I can say about this. Hopefully she doesn't get ghosted. This is coming from New York Post. A British woman who claims she has slept with at least 20 ghosts now says she's engaged to a poltergeist. Ooh, we didn't talk about poltergeist. Where's poltergeist rank in your horror films?
It would be in the top 10. It would be probably 6 or 7. Because it's the first one. Only the first one.
Do you know what one of my favorites? This is one of my favorites that really should not grace any top 30 list, but is still near and dear to me. House. Did you ever see House?
Yeah, I remember House.
And he goes back in time to Vietnam and stuff like that in the house, and he has to fight his friend. I love that friggin' movie.
William Pat and Richard Mall.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but I remember that movie was. It was funny. It was very disarming. It was funny. It was funny. It was funny, and then it wasn't. It stopped being funny somewhere in the middle, and then it turned into a serious horror movie, and that was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that was a kid.
No, I agree, but I for some reason near and dear. All right, back to this woman who's banging tons of ghosts like she gets around here. In December, Amethyst Realm told British TV show ITV this morning that she cheated on her fiancé with a ghost and has since gone on to have supernatural affairs with at least 20 paranormal beings. Well, now she says she's found true love with an apparition. Realm said the ghost asked her to get married during a trip to celebrate their 9-month relationship. There was no going down on one knee. He doesn't have knees, but for the first time, I heard him speak. I could actually hear his voice, and it was beautiful, deep, sexy, and real. Hassan, that's what I think of every time I hear you talk, period.
Okay, that's fair. Thanks.
So that's as good as it gets, right? No. Spooky spinning the racks. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed our show. I hope the sound quality was good. I hope you had a great Halloween. I hope you're like dining on chocolate and candy and having a great time. Next week, we're both back in studio, and we are both going to tackle the final phase of 2018 comic book movies. We've got two big ones coming up. We've got Aquaman, and we've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse coming up. We've also got a handful of just awesome things to do. We got Travis from Source Point Press, the publisher of Source Point Press, is going to be our guest next week. That's pretty much it. We are signing off.
You're listening